Hey legends, what's going on? Today I am reviewing The Wolfman, which is from director Leigh Whannell, Australian director. Let's go. Just been released in cinemas as of the 16th of January 2025. With his marriage fraying, Blake persuades his wife Charlotte to take a break from the city and visit his remote childhood home in rural Oregon. As they arrive at the farmhouse in the dead of night, they're attacked by an unseen animal and barricade themselves inside the home as the creature prowls the perimeter. But as the night stretches on, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable. I really wanted to love this movie, guys. Leigh Whannell's previous two films, The Invisible Man and Upgrade, were really creative takes on the horror, science fiction, thriller genre, so I was really keen to see what he came up with next. But for me, I think this was a significant misstep. I think the whole point of this film is meant to be about generational trauma, how sometimes you can try and protect your children so much that you actually end up being the person that scars them. And that sounds like a poignant message on paper, but on screen, I think it came across in a really clunky way. To begin with, the script is probably the main thing that feels clunky. The characters, they don't really feel like they have any chemistry. Matlida Firth is serviceable playing the daughter called Ginger, but Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner, they just don't seem to gel well as a couple on screen to me. It just kind of felt like I could never imagine them as a happy married couple. I mean, I know that their relationship is meant to be strained, but it felt like to me that the casting was a real bizarre choice because I think each of them are strong actors in their own right, but when put together in this kind of relationship, it just felt strange and it felt off to me. I actually watched this in a completely empty cinema with my good friend Jack, so we did have a great time watching this. It was awesome to get to sit there and react as loudly as we wanted to the jump scares, tell each other what we were thinking while we were watching the movie. I did really enjoy that, but on the topic of jump scares though, I don't really like them because here I feel like they weren't really done in that much of a creative way, which led to me overall kind of feeling like that the movie fell into some old kind of horror tropes and cliches that, kind of took away from my enjoyment a bit. But on the other hand, Leigh Whannell's creativity at other times is on full display here. He is an absolute master at using dynamic camera moves, especially when he's filming action. I think he's really creative at that. He loves to rotate the frame and rotate the camera. It can make you feel a bit disoriented at times, but I think that's part of his unique appeal as a director. He uses this really interesting camera and sound technique to convey the perspective of Blake, the father, as he undergoes this horrifying transformation versus the perspective of his wife and his child. I think that was done really well, and it places the audience really well behind Blake at that time in the film, and it was really scary because it felt like he was kind of going down this really scary drug trip that he just couldn't get out of, and I could just feel my anxiety coming up with that. But I do wish that we got to see that more and it was used even more as a storytelling technique because, there's some great moments where we do see through his POV, we see his wife and his kid, but then at the same time, I still don't understand his decision to ultimately attack them. I guess maybe he's just gone crazy now, but it was just so difficult to understand. That this disease is taking over his body and the POVs from his perspective is meant to sort of place us as the audience in his shoes, but then suddenly at the same time it's like that link is severed and we don't we still don't understand why he's attacking his wife and his child. And that leads me to my ultimate disappointment with this film. I just didn't really have any idea what I was supposed to take away from it. And yes, I know that this is a werewolf monster film. It's not that deep, but it really did seem like that the movie was trying to put something out there about maybe domestic violence or abusive relationships, which could have been a really powerful message. But the thing is, Blake, as a father and as a partner, before he got bitten by the werewolf, he didn't seem to show any of those tendencies at all. Yes, maybe he had some shortcomings with, being able to control his daughter's behavior. But yes, spoiler warning, we do find out that it was Blake's dad that actually gives him this werewolf disease by scratching him. But again, it just doesn't really feel like the movie's able to convey any kind of intelligent commentary on all those big issues apart from the surface level symbolism surrounding the plot. So yeah, I was kind of left feeling like there's something missing here. And also, man, the character decisions here sometimes just felt so frustrating. Me and Jack were like yelling at them on the screen, being like, surely lads, go and find a weapon or do something to defend yourself. I feel like when you watch a horror movie, you want to watch smart characters acting through these situations, doing what you feel like you would do as an audience member, not making stupid decisions. It just took me out of the movie too many times. And on top of that, I just feel like a lot of the actual events that happened in the film, things that, ways that the werewolves kind of acted, it felt like this is happening because the plot wants it to happen, not because it's something necessarily realistic. Like, another example of this is, why doesn't the werewolf smash through the windows in the house? I know some of them have bars, but you see his strength kind of bashing on the door, and it just really doesn't line up. It feels like, oh, okay, he's not attacking them anymore because the plot says we need to spend time with the family in the house, rather than, oh, there's a reason why the werewolves stopped attacking them now and it's gone off to retreat into the forest. So yeah, that did take me out of it. But yeah, there's a lot of tension here. It had me and Jack on the edge of our seats. We were scared, we were engaged with the film, but it just wasn't as effective as it could have been because you're watching these characters not acting like real people. They're acting like absolute spuds. So yeah, it's a shame because I do think that this could have been a powerful film if the casting was right, and I mean that more in terms of what I mentioned before with the chemistry between the two main characters. Also, if the script just had a bit more nuance and depth behind it with a message that it was trying to convey. There's also a lot of people that are complaining, saying that this movie was lit really poorly, that it's too dark. I've got to say it didn't really annoy me that much, but at the same time, you would not want to watch this in a room with any light. Like, the glare would just mean, like, if you're watching it on your TV in the middle of the day, the glare would just mean you couldn't see anything, and that would be pretty frustrating. But yeah, I'm still excited for Leigh Whannell's next project. Again, I think he's a good director, but at the same time, I'm not sure if there's been some studio interference with this or something like that, but this movie just falls into, some classic shortcomings and cliches of, horror kind of monster films. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm gonna give The Wolfman 2.5 out of 5. But guys, if you're going to cinemas, if you're looking for a horror movie to watch with your friends, I would still recommend this film because you're not gonna be bored.